In 5, 4. Wait, what season are we on?
Season 6.
Okay, yeah. 3, 2, 1. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good night.
This is John.
Arvin.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes
Of our best days.
Season
6.
It's the season of the 6.
That's right. What is that from?
I have no idea. There was an old song called It's the Season of the Witch.
Who sang that?
It's like from the 80s or 70s. It's the
It sounds like
season of
something
the-
Carmen would sing.
Yeah, Carmen. And those of you guys who don't know who he is,
Google it, dude.
Carmen, Christian pop singer.
Honestly, you're in for a treat.
The only guy that could pack out the Maybe Center, which seats like 9,000 people.
Yeah, it's a good chunk.
And you don't have to sing.
Yeah,
He like talks like this. I'm
It's
here.
storytelling.
Yeah, it's storytelling.
It's spoken word storytelling.
Yeah, but he
Man.
was as big as Michael Jackson.
I bet he's watching this episode in heaven right now.
I told you when he called me, right?
Have you ever told that publicly?
I don't know.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
So, all right. Oh, man. Okay, guys, this is Behind the Scenes of Our Best Days podcast.
Yeah.
And this podcast we do at Victory.
Yeah.
We both get to serve in the creative department.
Gratefully.
Yeah. And we get to be involved from events to productions to film to our weekend services at campuses. And Victory is consisted of these entities.
Yeah.
Our West and North Tulsa Dream Center.
Absolutely.
Which is an outreach place. The
Yeah.
Camp Victory, and Victory Manford is also out there. And then we have our college, and then our school, K3 through 12th. And then you have our main church.
There's also a church.
Yeah, then there's also a church.
It's also the main,
It's a
campus.
lot. So there's always
There's a lot
something
happening.
going on.
Yeah.
But we also get to be involved in some unique events. One of them being is that because Victory's been around for over 40 years, we would have like, back in the day, I don't know, those of you guys who are watching this, I don't know if you guys grew up in church or not, but like back in the day, it was a thing to have Christian concerts at your venue.
Yes.
Like they would look at your church as a venue.
Yeah.
Whether it's like First Baptist of Tahlequah, Oklahoma,
Sure.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Come and listen to Stellar Cart.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
John Rubin, which was a white rapper.
Yeah.
Just like not Lil Dicky, not as good as
No, I don't. Yeah. I remember seeing Toby Mac in this building.
In
Not
this
Well,
building.
in the worship center here.
in the worship center.
Yeah.
And we would have these concerts. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We need to I have so many stories
I'm sure.
from like CCM,
Yeah.
contemporary Christian
Yes.
music
In its
concerts
heyday.
in its heyday.
Right.
And it was like they were treated like gods, lowercase g,
Yeah.
but gods.
But definitely a G.
But definitely a G in there. Okay, so there was this pop singer growing up, and my brother, he's the pastor, him and his wife, they are pastors of Victory, Pastor Paul and Pastor Ashley. We love them and honor them.
Yes.
But yes, he tells a story. We grew up idolizing this guy named Carmen.
Yeah.
And Carmen was the Christian Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He could dance, he could sing. Well, he didn't really sing, but he like talk sang.
He could. Yeah.
Yes.
He could deliver.
He could deliver. That's a good word. And he would release
Yeah.
music videos. And the music videos were like 7 minutes long.
They were short films.
They were short films.
Yeah.
Like that was in the day when Michael Jackson would release short films for his.
Yeah.
So it was like epic. He would pack out big stadiums and it was just him.
Yeah.
Now they have to have like 40 of them and they call it like Winterfest.
Yeah. It's got a seasonal plug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, so this individual was like the Italian stallion.
Yeah.
He would always had his shirt unbuttoned, like down to the third button, always showed a little bit of Italian hair.
Yeah.
But it like sent people to rapture.
Yeah,
Like women were like,
Yeah.
oh
Absolutely.
my gosh.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And anyways, and so I remember Paul always tells a story about we went to his concert. My dad took us. And then afterwards, my dad got us backstage and he was in this like cut off tee. And we were like, Carmen. And he goes, hey boys, y'all want to feel my muscles? And Paul goes, yeah. And for 5 seconds, Paul just rubbed his muscle. And Paul tells this story from stage on like a weekend, and everyone is like not sure how to feel about it. But it was such a thing, like, when you grow up in this Christian household, it's like,
okay, those are your celebrities. Those are your heroes. Absolutely.
So anyways, my dad passed away, 11, 12 years ago. He's in heaven. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, we're real happy for him.
We're real happy for him. He's in a better place.
Yeah.
Anyways. Well, my mom, she also would travel and do worship ministry, and she has like 9 albums.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And she has vinyls.
Oh, yeah.
She has vinyls, and she had this afro, and she had this staple red lipstick, and she would sing on like Oral Roberts television.
Yeah, absolutely.
And open up. Well, anyways, she would do this dance, and it was like this holy shuffle.
Yeah.
It was something out of Righteous Gemstones.
I love
it. Was like,
I love it.
She would do this holy shuffle dance. Carmen saw it, and he used it on the Holy Hop. He has this song called The Holy Hop.
Wow.
And he used her dance, and he just thought it was awesome.
Amazing.
And we just were like, Mom, Carmen used your dance on his music video. Those of you guys who don't know who this is, you guys are probably wanting to fast forward through this. It gets better. So anyways, my mom now, she did not remarry. My dad passed away.
Yeah.
Somehow, I have no idea, Carmen gets my cell number.
Amazing.
Like 4 or 5 years ago.
Incredible.
And I have not heard of this individual. And he was like, hey, this is Carmen.
Yeah.
And I go, wait, as in like whenever I was a child, I was like idolized him.
Right.
I'm like, oily, muscly guy that sings that sings the Bible verses.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And he's like asking about my mom and if she's single.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
That's spectacular.
I just thought it was wild. I was like, wait, is Carmen going to be my dad? And for like, I'm not lying, for like a good 2 minutes, I was entertaining the fact.
Yeah.
Should I set my mom up with Carmen so I can have big stepdad energy from Carmen?
Incredible.
Isn't that not wild?
Hysterical.
No, he didn't come out and say it, but he was like, so is she seen anyone?
Yeah.
Or,
he was just checking in.
He was just checking in. Yeah. Just checking in. But he brought up the Holy Hop story, and he told me that story, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Anyways, and then randomly, and I'll probably get into this later whenever I feel like I can be more vulnerable with this conversation.
Yeah.
But he would randomly call me, and we talked on the phone 3 or 4 times before he passed away.
Wow.
And it was just, we would just talk and tell stories.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy.
Fascinating.
I'm like, why me?
Right.
Why was I chosen?
That's very interesting.
So anyways, guys, Carmen is my stepdad.
That's wild. It'd be awkward when he got to heaven and your dad greeted him and was like...
He goes,
I don't mean to be casual about 2 legends of the faith, but that had to be an interesting conversation.
oh my gosh.
They probably didn't talk about it.
They probably,
I'll
but like
find
my
out.
dad knew. My dad just saw
He was
connected
like,
eyes with him.
He's like, I was just checking in.
I was just checking in on Sharon.
And Peter's like, dude, guys, come on.
Come on, St. Peter's like,
Come on.
guys, we can see through this portal.
What a strange subculture.
Speaking of, my mom, after my dad passed away, my mom, while she was pastoring, there was a moment while my mom was pastoring before Paul stepped in for like 3 years.
Yeah.
She studied the ship.
Yeah.
The only female pastor of like a lead church at that time
Absolutely.
in America.
I remember that. Yeah.
And she was proposed to in an offering envelope.
Yeah.
And a guy put a wedding ring in the offering envelope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just passed it down. And my mom opened it. It was like right before she gets up to preach. And the guy was like, hey, God put you on my heart.
Yeah.
He told me that we were supposed to be married. I will support you and I will be a supportive husband.
Wow.
But here's the ring.
Yeah.
I heard that you're a size, and said her ring size.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I heard.
I've heard. I'm
Who's
like,
he asking?
who is he asking, Carmen?
Who's
like,
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Amazing.
So
that
weird.
is wild that he put a ring in an offering envelope.
Yeah. Now that's behind the scenes.
That's the most BTS story I think we've ever had
shared
on this podcast.
Yeah, and we can go more, but I'm like, I don't know if I'll get in trouble.
No, sure.
But anyways,
if this episode does come out, then we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Incredible.
Oh my god,
that's amazing.
Isn't that weird?
It's also beautiful in that, like, when you're growing up in the large church culture, you do kind of naturally associate these leaders with celebrities, and then as you get older you realize, like, oh, they're all people.
They're all people.
They're all people with normal human thoughts. Like, there was an era after the concerts were over where that guy was like, what happens to my life now? What do I do next?
Yeah.
You know, and people don't think about that. That's right. Exactly.
On the phone, we talked about it. He was like, now that, like, and at that point in time, it was like Elevation and Hillsong were touring.
Yeah.
And they were packing out.
Yeah, they
but
were the
Christian artists weren't.
Right.
And so they had to do 10 to 15 of them just to pack out a room.
Just to make it happen.
But like these worship concerts were taken off.
Yeah.
And so anyways, it was just an interesting conversation.
Fascinating. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're starting season 6, right?
Yeah.
And congratulations on 6
I was going to say that to
seasons.
you. Congrats on doing 6 seasons of a podcast.
Wow. On you still wanting to talk to me.
That's ridiculous. Everyone who's met John wants to know him better, and he always jokes that, like, oh, thanks for talking to me, thanks for being my friend, but it has always been the, what if I start crying? It's always, what if I do
do it,
the
please.
guy with John Maxwell, remember that story?
Oh my gosh.
You no, realistically, the reality is it's a pleasure to know you. And I'd say it off the podcast.
And we also want to give a shout out to Toronzo.
Absolutely. Caleb Toronzo is a new dad.
He is a new papa.
He's got, can we say your
He's
son's
fertile.
name on the podcast? Yeah. This guy, his name is Callahan Joseph Toronzo.
Callahan Joseph Toronzo.
That's right. That's
what
right.
An epic name.
Classy name. Elegant.
Yeah. Well, elegant. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if he, like, is a war general.
That's
Callahan?
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
That's a cool
Yeah,
name.
absolutely.
My parents named me John.
That's
like,
a good
how
name.
basic.
You don't like that?
Everyone is named John, including toilets.
That's okay, but the spelling's different.
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe, but everyone was like, I'm going to go take a poo on John. Like, growing up,
That's
was a
funny.
joke.
That was a joke, yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's not funny.
Yeah,
it takes zero cleverness to think
true.
of that joke.
That's true. I'm thinking of Arvin was tough, dude, because no one
your
has
name is
that
Arvin.
name.
Sorry.
No one had it. And then I was thinking of the way kids would make, it's always toilet humor. It's either the toilet, people would call, the bullies I had were like 15 when I was 7, and they called me R-fart. And honestly, it was too funny for even me to not laugh.
That's good.
So that was the thing.
You know, I feel like it's a good sign when people make fun of you and you can laugh at it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, those of you guys who are listening and watching, let that be a personal goal.
Totally.
Like, let someone rip you to shreds.
Don't take yourself too seriously. Have a sense of humor. Yeah.
Yes. You can't have a life full of purpose if you have a life full of pettiness.
That's good.
Oh.
You can't be purposeful and petty at the same time.
Yeah. Like, petty is like, me, my mooba, beep.
Yeah.
And when I just did that, you knew exactly what I was
saying.
saying.
You filled in the blank.
You filled in the blank.
Yeah,
and
you
were
did.
like, mamu, baby, bah. When people get like really sassy and they get petty over little pings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's like, okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ease up.
That's right.
Ease up.
It's about time.
It's about time. Okay. So as you start new things, this is one thing that we were getting into.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the behind the scenes that we see in church culture or like whatever. Okay. Why is it that when people start a new thing that they've been really wanting to start, they, like, for instance, you have a kid that's really, 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 really been wanting to play basketball. And then you finally sign them up in basketball.
Yeah.
They want to play basketball all day, every day.
Yeah.
Until, 3 weeks pass by and then they miss 2 days because they want to take a break.
Yeah.
Because they don't pace themselves.
Yeah.
The same thing I see when someone really, really wants to work at Victory.
Sure.
And they volunteer and they serve and they're always up at Victory and all they're believing for is a job at Victory.
Yeah.
And then when they get to Victory,
Yeah.
they go all in and they don't pace themselves.
Right.
And then they burn out.
That's right.
They
That's
burn
right.
out and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
wait, this wasn't the goal.
Right.
And I'm like, it's the same thing with people who go, oh, I'm going to do 75 hard.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know anyone who's finished 75 hard.
Really?
I've known 40 people that have started it.
I've never told anyone.
But you did it.
I've done it a couple times.
You just told everyone on the podcast.
I've done it a lot.
Okay, you're the first person I know that.
But I didn't
finished.
say anything to anybody.
But that's good
because it wasn't
like
about 75. Yeah,
it wasn't about the trend. It was about you proving to yourself.
For me, it was. I'm 30 now, and if I don't get serious about this, the compromises of the 25-year-old Arvin will make me look like a very different 35-year-old Arvin.
That's so
Where
interesting.
I was like, I would get out of bed and I was sore. Like my joints were hurting. I'd get out of the
Yikers.
car and be out of breath. And I was like, you got to figure this out.
Yeah.
So I did it. I was like probably 50 days into it. And my buddy told me, hey, let's do 75 hard. I go, what is that? And then I was like, I've been doing this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm interrupting.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. Well, guys,
Sorry. Totally.
for this, you guys, Arvin deserves a cookie, so everyone send him a ribbon.
I actually made
for
cookies
finishing.
last night.
Okay. You're like, that was my 75 cookies hard.
Yeah.
I went 75 hard on cookies.
What if I thought 75 hard was baking something every day?
Yeah, that's very good. It's very Bear of you.
No, it's a yeah. It's funny.
Anyways, okay. But I guess what I'm saying is when people start something new, why is it that they don't pace themselves?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like whenever you meet that friend that you really connect with and it's fireworks.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you don't pace your friendship.
Yeah.
I know this sounds weird and very nuanced to even talk about.
Everyone's done this.
But it's like I just see it and I'm like, the goal should be longevity, not intensity.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like more people need consistency than they need intensity when it comes to like I've talked to people, they initially get saved and they go, every time the doors open at the church, I'm going to be here.
That's right.
And I tell them, I go, yes, okay, that's fine.
Sure.
But just so you know, if you miss a church service, it does not mean you're not a good Christian.
God doesn't go away.
God doesn't go away.
Yeah.
God isn't really even taking score of you being at church.
Yeah.
Wednesday night,
There
Sunday
it is.
night.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Like God cares about your heart, not your church attendance.
That's right.
Yes, I believe that you should not forsake the gathering of the saints.
Yeah,
that's
it's
not what I'm
important.
saying.
Yeah.
Church is important. I go to church every weekend. But it's like when I meet people that get into something new and they don't pace themselves and they go for intensity, you just listen to people talk.
Yeah.
Listen to people talk about, oh my gosh, so I'm reading this, I'm doing this thing where I read 3 books a week. I go, great. And then 3 months later, ask them, how many books have you finished?
Yeah.
And just see what their answer is.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mean to like poop on people's achievements, but I'm just saying like, it is interesting that people get so fixated on intensity over consistency.
That's right. That's right.
It blows my mind how consistency is actually something that the world lacks.
Yeah.
We don't lack intensity.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like the people who are like, I want to serve and I want to be plugged in at the church. I always tell people, commit to one thing.
Yeah.
And show me how long you can do one thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after 3 months, commit to 2 things.
Right. Right.
But show me that you can do 3 months, one thing.
That's right.
You know, we work in different entities. I could not imagine. People always talk about how sad they are when a production is over. I'm alleviated.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I could not imagine being in a year-round production like Broadway.
Sure.
Like Broadway,
8 times a week.
It's 8 times a week.
Yeah.
And that is your life.
That's right.
There's no such thing as a break.
No.
You get sick, then you get replaced by someone.
Even understudy.
And then an understudy, if they do better than you, then you lose your job.
Tough. Yeah. It's
like
right.
that's how the world operates.
Yeah.
And so I think many times we think that in church.
Right.
It's like, if I don't show up, I'm not a good Christian.
Yeah.
Someone else will replace me on the worship team.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. When it's like, okay, guys, the goal is to do this for life. You know? So whether it is health, whether it is being involved at a church, you know, I just think the behind the scenes, just watching, you know, whenever we hire someone on, we take them through this thing called the Victory Way. And the Victory Way, we show them around the church, but then Human Resources talks to them about, it's funny, here at Victory, we have these things called healing days.
Yeah.
We don't have sick days because we're about the confession.
That's right. You're healing.
It's
being
funny.
healed. Yeah.
So we have healing days.
Yeah.
But, Toronzo just had a child.
Yes.
Him and his wife, they needed time off.
Right.
We're recording this new season 6 of podcast. I'm sure there was things that Caleb could have done, but what's the goal? Like,
right.
The goal is for him to be with his wife, with his newborn son, and like that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
The ministry is second place.
Yeah.
Work, second place.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I feel like once you can get in a groove, where you're able to pace yourself on certain things, especially things that you've been praying for.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Like, then I think you get into, that's the unforced rhythms of grace. I believe so.
I agree.
I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right.
Now you talk.
Well, I was going to ask you because you're spot on, I believe. So I'm curious, how did you learn that?
Well, I think it just came from me being frustrated that people wouldn't be consistent when I needed them.
Yeah, yeah.
So like for me, I run the strength coach, 5th grade through 12th grade. Monday, we have 7 classes. I do 7 classes on Monday.
Yeah.
And then the other days, I think there's on Tuesday 6, Thursday, the other days there's 5.
Yeah.
And then we have Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And it's just during the fall, and then things kind of switch up and transition. During those classes, people say, "Oh, Pastor John, Coach John, we want to serve with you." And they go, "Oh, we can serve in all these classes." And I always tell them, just give me 1 a week.
Yeah.
And they go, "Well, I can do more."
Sure.
Literally, this happened last week.
Yeah.
This guy was like, "Oh, I can do these 3." And I go, "I don't want you to do these 3.
Yeah.
I want you to do Friday afternoon from 1:55 to 2:45. That's the class I need you to help with."
Right, right.
This last week, I'm sorry, that was 2 weeks ago. This last Friday, he didn't show up because something came up.
Sure.
And I was like, exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't blame this guy.
Sure.
But I'm also kind of like, do not promise me. I feel like we get excited and our emotions get the best of us. And we just, out of the abundance of our heart, we just go, "Oh yeah, I can commit to this."
Yeah.
And we overcommit.
Yeah.
And then we underproduce.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "Oh, you're that person."
Right.
Guys, flakes are only good in cereal.
That's good. Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Like, don't be a flake.
Yeah.
Just commit to something and stick with it, but don't overcommit. Like, and then after 3 months, if you see that, like, okay, I've been consistent.
Right.
All right. Well, then you can add.
Yeah.
I think that is where it has come from. Is it has been the frustration that I've had to deal with. And here's the thing: I can't be harsh with them because they serve.
Sure.
They're on a dream team.
Sure.
They volunteer.
Yeah.
Now, if they're a staff member, I do have a confrontational conversation with them.
Fair.
Because I go, "You wanted this job so bad."
Yeah.
And now, like, there's been 2 or 3 days, and I'm not talking like taking a healing day because you're sick. It's like you not showing up to something that is your job because you slept through an alarm.
Sure.
And then they're like, "Well, I was really tired because the night before, I also did photography and film." And I go, "Who asked you to do that?"
Yeah.
You did this event.
Right.
No one asked you to do that.
Yeah.
Your job responsibility is Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Like, this has also happened multiple times.
Absolutely.
And so I'm just like, man, like Proverbs talks about, the one thing you have going for you is your reputation. Just don't ruin it with the person who's leading over you.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden, now I've adjusted my expectations for you.
Right.
And now I know I can only count on them sometimes, which means I don't count on them.
I'd rather not. Yeah.
I will be kind to you,
yeah,
but I won't count on you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anyways, I know that's tough, but
no,
it's
it's reality. I think it's the biggest difference between most of us are now adjusted to a culture where you are watching other people talk about doing things that they're probably not really doing.
Like those of you that you follow on TikTok,
you'll see it
Instagram.
On film, YouTube, everything.
Podcast.
It's the talking about doing things. And I'm trying to slow it down so I can make sure it comes across clear. You get a feeling. It's a dopamine chemical in your brain of excitement when you watch someone doing something. That's why this content is so popular.
Yeah.
Workout content, stuff, every other day I'm in the gym. I have to choose which times I go to the gym because half the people there are recording themselves for their content. And I'm not opposed to it. Go for it. Do your thing. But it's like we are so obsessed with telling a story that we have not lived out, because when you start to actually try to legitimately live it out, the feeling of doing the thing that you want to get attention for is very different than when you imagine getting attention for it.
Okay, hold on. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch that? Those listening, watching?
Yeah.
Say that one more time, but slow it down because that
Yeah.
just went a little too fast for me.
No, of course. You see someone doing something and you go, I want to do that. And you imagine yourself doing it. And that's an exciting feeling.
And it's like a motivational speaker, a mindset coach.
It could be
any a famous dancer,
category,
a famous
film.
singer,
You watch a person being famous.
A writer, being famous.
Yeah. Being a parent, being this, that, the other.
Being an amazing parent.
Totally. You watch that. And there's nothing wrong with this. We're not talking about sin here. We're just talking about how it doesn't happen and how it does happen. So you see someone doing something, and you go, wow, I want to do that. And you imagine yourself doing it, and you get really excited. Doing the actual thing does not feel like that.
Doing the actual thing does not feel like the feeling of watching and imagining
That's right.
yourself doing
That's
it.
right. That's right. There's an entire other process. No matter what the category is, we're talking about parenting, ministry, whatever, like every single thing I've ever seen and wanted to endeavor into, the doing of it felt so different than the imagination.
Okay. So I love Martin Scorsese. And I also I follow this Instagram account, and it's about these writers. And these writers, they post about all these people who write these movies. And I will watch this account as like, I love following inspirational things for me, and I get inspired. But inspiration feels great.
Sure.
Doing what I was inspired to do does not feel like inspiring.
It feels like work.
Yeah. So like I'll watch Martin Scorsese will talk about, this nuanced of script writing.
Yeah.
And I will imagine you and me doing that.
Sure.
And then when we do it, it doesn't feel like what I felt.
Right.
Watching Martin Scorsese explain it on Instagram.
Yeah. Cooking feels different than eating.
Cooking feels different than eating.
It sounds so logical until you apply it to your entire ambition for your life as an adult. You go, I want to do this. I want to, accomplish all this stuff. And I don't think it's wrong. It's more so like people get stuck here and
okay, like pastoring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wait, you mean even in Bible college?
100%.
Wait, you mean even in Christian universities or people who watch famous preachers?
For sure. I think the speaking part is like 5% of the job. Pastoring specifically. Because I'm a pastor's kid. I've watched it my whole life. I work at a church.
You witness, you go to a really cool church.
Yeah.
And you look and you go, wow, look at the lobby.
Awesome.
Look at the design.
Totally.
And their worship and their LED content and all of this stuff. And then you imagining yourself on the stage at your church that you imagined in your mind.
Right.
Doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you actually doing that.
Right. There's a big space between the two. And it's not wrong. I don't want to feel... it's not wrong to
you just need
dream
to be aware
and imagine. But... people get confused, especially when I talk to guys. Now that I'm 30, guys in their 20s, when they ask me questions, I used to go, why are they asking me? Now I'm like, because I'm older than them. I used to not be older than anybody. Now I'm older than some people. And they'll ask me about this, and we'll talk about it. And what it ends up at is you're praying for the dream to come true.
Yes.
Which is preaching, for example, whatever your dream is. And then you're confused by the process God enrolls you in. And you go, why is all this stuff happening in my life? I want to be on the stage. And what I share with them is you don't realize the reality of doing that, the life that you have to live, the person you have to become to do that.
Yeah.
Your confusing life circumstances are actually the curriculum that's preparing you to be able to do that and not ruin your life.
Yeah.
It's the process of, if you're actually going to do that thing, it's not going to feel like what it feels like to sit there and watch it and get distracted from the sermon
True.
by imagining you're doing it. So you have to endeavor into the process of, okay, let me become the kind of person. And in that process, God meets people. And what happens is he gets your attention with the dream, the vision.
Yes.
And then he gets your heart with the process.
Yeah.
He gets your attention with the vision.
Hook, line, and sinker.
And he gets your heart in the and that's where the decisions are made.
Yeah.
Do you really want to do that? Yes, I do. Okay, well, let's talk about why you want to do it. Oh, I want people to see me on stage. Why do you want people to see you on stage? So that I can feel important. Why don't you feel important right now? I guess it's because no one sees me. I see you. Well, yeah, but I want the crowd to see me. I have more eyes than the entire crowd combined.
Yeah, the audience.
You don't
of
feel
one.
seen. You don't feel seen by me. That conversation can take years. There are some people I know who bail on that conversation because they got an opportunity to preach. Or whatever other the dream is. You bail on that process.
And that's like not pacing yourself.
That's right. So you go into things, you go, I'll say yes to everything, to everyone.
You jump in the deep end,
Absolutely.
not realizing that you have ankle weights on.
That's right. That's right. Like God it even says that in Hebrews. Let us throw off the weights that so easily beset us. Like
there's
God's
a reason
trying to
why they
get that off
easily
you.
there's a reason why they easily entangle us.
do it. That's
It's
right.
because it's the thing that it's the things that we want but not need.
That's right.
That's why they easily entangle us.
Mm-hmm.
That's so like what is I think that's a great question to ask yourself. What's the thing that is very easy for you to get tangled up in? All of us have our easily tangled up things, and for me it's definitely like crumble cookies.
Yeah, dude.
This is a plug. You guys?
Yeah, please sponsor us.
Please
Crumble.
sponsor us.
Dude, don't even pay for it. Just send cookies, dude.
Yeah. Just pay us in dough.
Yeah, we love that. We're good with that.
But I mean, like, that's silly, of course.
Sure.
But, like, there are those things that easily entangle us. Like,
Yeah.
we all have those things. And it is interesting that those things go with us whenever those things are right there, always waiting to latch on.
Sure. Yeah.
whenever we have a new opportunity.
Sure.
Whatever it may be, even relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, how many of you guys you remember, and I know most people have this in their life. Those of you guys watching and listening, you had a friend. You guys were you guys were close friends, maybe even best friends. Two girls or two dudes. Then your friend started dating someone.
Oh, sure.
And all they wanted to do was spend time with that significant other.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden got jealous. Does that ever happen to anyone? Okay.
Sure.
I mean, it's happened to me. Well, then you begin to say things. You begin to tell them. Yeah. It's like, hey, it's not healthy for you only to hang out with them.
Yeah.
You're like, you need to like, are we still friends? And then you feel this drifting apart. And then all of a sudden, you know, after a few months, the newness wears off of that relationship. And it's not that it's bad, but it's just a relationship.
Yeah.
Then that person returns to your life and is like, hey, sorry, you know, like, let's hang out again. Like, let's go out to eat.
Yeah.
And you being like, ugh. And, you know.
Right.
But I'm like, that happens in every area
Absolutely.
of our life.
Absolutely.
It's like we get this new thing and it's this ideal, the ideal of it. And not pacing ourselves, we go all in, you know. And so anyways, I just think that is very interesting. And then the bottom line, and we'll end with this question, which may open up a can of worms.
Oh, interesting.
But there is the consistency over intensity. Like that is a takeaway.
Yeah.
And then the second question is your capacity. Is like asking what you're praying for.
Yeah.
Do you have the capacity to carry it?
Right. Right.
And being honest with yourself. You know, I mean, obviously there's a reason why God put desires in your heart, but God put desires in my heart to be a rock star. And I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, John, you don't got the goods, my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, I think being honest with yourself, not being honest with yourself is, I've said this before in a previous season, but like one of the greatest lies is not being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
about your dreams and visions.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean demean yourself. It doesn't mean to say, oh, this will
Yeah.
never happen.
Right.
Eeyore, Winnie the Pooh.
Right. Sure.
Nobody likes me.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just, Lord, show me how many talents I have.
Yeah.
Like, God gifted one 5 talents.
Yeah.
God gifted one guy 3 talents.
Uh-huh.
And then the master gifted the last guy 1 talent.
Mm-hmm.
There are humans out there.
Mm-hmm.
They have 5 talent goals,
Mm-hmm.
and God gifted them with 3 talents.
Uh-huh.
And it's important to ask yourself,
Right.
God, is this going to be a team that's formed around me that is going to be able to accomplish this goal, or is it going to
Right.
be me as an individual?
Right.
Because those goals the 5 talent goal can still be accomplished, but it will probably be more people than just you.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But if it is like a personal thing, you
Yeah.
have to be honest with yourself and be
Yeah.
like, am I just a 3 talent person?
Mm.
And that's not, there's a fine line between self-doubt
Uh-huh.
and also being honest with yourself with
Yeah.
no self-doubt, being confident
Right.
in that,
Right. Having a track record.
having a track record.
Henry Cloud's book on trust was really interesting.
Dr.
about
Henry
this.
Cloud is a great,
Brilliant guy.
brilliant
author,
therapist.
Yeah. Important dude.
Yeah, he has a book on boundary. Anyways, you guys look him up. Great,
Yeah,
great.
Google Henry
So-
Cloud. But in this recent book on trust, he points out the 5 characteristics that are needed for trust.
Okay.
And I'm coming at this with the angle of what a leader needs to be able to look for with a person who works for them.
Okay.
So I try to build this stuff with you and with others. And then also lately, my question, my version of the Solomon prayer, Solomon's one prayer was for wisdom. And for a while I copy and pasted that and I thought that's good. But this has become mine in the last couple years. I want God to be able to trust me. And the 5 things that are required for trust are understanding. So the person, if it's you and me, John needs to be able to know that I understand him and I understand what he's talking about. The second one is motive. John needs to be able to trust my motive. So when he tells Arvin to do something and Arvin goes, "Yeah, I got it. I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you." Well, what's Arvin's motive, and is he going to take instruction from John and bend it to suit what he really wants?
Yeah.
Or is he going to just follow through on the motive he thinks John has? The third one is ability. So this is where capacity comes in.
Okay.
So when John goes, "Hey, Arvin, can you write this song and sing it in the production?" I can say yes, but I don't have that capacity. So I can go, "Oh, I could probably help write it. I can't sing it." And if I'm not honest about that, I'm going to lose trust later. If I go, "Sure, for sure," and then we turn on the mic and it's like, this is a problem. The last 2 are character. So can John trust that Arvin has the character to follow through on what he's asked him for? And then the final one is track record. Is there a track record of Arvin being trustworthy with these areas? And if you lack any of those 5, you're not going to see things go well.
Yeah.
So what it comes down to here in terms of capacity, you have to be able to, this is what he shares, you have to be able to trust different people for different things. Like you can trust me to help with productions and script writing and all that stuff. But if you need a knee replacement, I'm not your guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he talks about being able to correctly, and I think the majority of this that we're talking about comes down to trust. And I think if people were intense about earning and establishing trust, the rest of the stuff will probably take care of itself. Because once someone trusts you, you move pretty quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things can happen pretty quickly because you have mutual trust.
And what's scary, this is a sad story, but what's scary is when people trust you, they think you hit all those 5 boxes, but deep down inside, you know you don't.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, last story, and then we'll close out.
Sure.
So there was this guy used to be a pastor here on staff, Aaron Johnson, AJ.
Yeah.
Still very close family friends.
For sure.
God moved him into the business world, and he is the first, not first, but currently right now, the only Black-owned grocery store in Oklahoma.
Wow.
And anyways, he's blowing up, doing great things. He just was meeting with Tiffany Haddish, the comedian.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to help her start one in LA.
Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's just doing great and awesome, mighty things.
That's awesome.
Right? About basically going into food deserts and doing grocery stores, making it an oasis. So anyways, but me and him grew up together and we would do these odd jobs. Well, we went and stapled up odd jobs in my cell number.
Yeah.
Like we would do them because we were trying to make money.
Sure.
And we did so many weird things. And in fact, if we ever lack stories, just remind me and I will, I know I have.
Odd jobs.
Yeah. Odd jobs with AJ.
Yeah.
One of them was this lady calls us and it was 71st and Yale. You know where that Quick Trip is?
Oh yeah.
Across from the Quick Trip, I remember that neighborhood. This lady was like, hey, I just got in a desk. I got it for my husband for his laptop, not laptop, for his MacBook and his editing suite. This was right when Mac came out, when they had like the different color see-through back.
Oh yeah.
It was like cool, you know. They weren't flat. Like this was like we were sophomores in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, like early. It was like 2000, 2001.
Sure.
And she's like, will you put this desk together? And that way when he gets home, you know. So we go over there and we showed up and we were like, yep, it'll be. And I was like, what should we charge her? And then AJ leans over and he's like, yeah, that'll be $250.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I just held my breath. And she goes, and the lady was like, okay, sounds good.
Wow.
And we were like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So we show up right after school at 4 p.m. We start upstairs and I go, hey, shut that door. And she's like, thank you guys so much. Okay, well, I just trust you guys. Now he gets in tomorrow at noon.
Yeah.
And so he's going to come in and he's going to see it all set up. And I'm just so excited. She's like, do you guys want like lemonade? I can order pizza, you know? And so anyways, we were like, oh, that's so kind. Super kind.
Yeah.
We start putting together this desk. It has 500 pieces.
Oh my gosh.
I'm talking like a puzzle for, I have no idea.
Oh wow.
Like it was Tetris,
Yikes.
Tinker Toys, and you know, I have no idea. It was so intense.
Oh man.
It was beyond anything that, like, what's that one place in Dallas?
IKEA?
IKEA. It was
Okay.
It was something that IKEA would barf over.
Yeah.
It was like
yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
We begin putting things together and we are like missing screws. We're like, well, I guess this just goes in.
Yeah.
We just started mashing things together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was like the screws were getting stripped because we would have to like pull it out and put it back in.
Yeah.
It is now 8 p.m. It's been 4 hours. She knocks on the door and she goes, hey guys, are you guys almost done? I was going to put down my children. We're like, we'll be done in like 30 minutes. And we're like, oh, shoot. Let's just set this up and put his computer on it. Dude, I'm telling you, we were garbage human beings.
Oh,
okay.
You were inexperienced young man.
We were inexperienced, and I would rather her trust us, us get paid, and me leave with zero integrity.
Right.
Than and her just think that we did, as opposed to saying that I did not know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because we were in too deep.
Right.
And we were friendly.
Yeah.
She got us. Like the pizza, she was like, okay, well, I have the pizza and the lemonade waiting for you guys downstairs.
Oh,
so we're like, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's finish this up. So we set things up. It looks somewhat finished.
Yeah.
We have like 20 pieces.
That
are just chilling.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, let's put these in the closet.
Yeah.
And so anyways, so we're like, all right, come on up. And she goes, wow, you guys did it.
Oh.
And she was like, okay. And then she like she's like, now there's a few things missing. She like points them out.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, it just kind of sets up against the wall.
That's what it's supposed to do.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
She goes, okay, are you sure? And she goes, yeah. And then I say, because I feel bad, I go, we did have some extra pieces, but we put them over here in the closet. I just wanted you to see, that way if you're needing any extra pieces. She goes, well, why would I need them? Because I paid for you guys to finish it.
Oh, yeah.
And I go, right. But like, I'm guessing it's like, you know how they give you buttons in a pocket? Like if you pop a button on then you can just put a new button on the jacket.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay. And then we were like, well, okay, pizza downstairs. And she goes, yeah, hold on. And she just pushes on the desk. It breaks. It doesn't just break. The wood splits. The wood splits.
It's just sawdust.
The computer goes to fall, and I catch the computer, and I go, whoa. I go, man, that was close. And she just looks at me, and she goes, you guys broke this desk.
Yeah.
It was like a 3-part desk that goes in a corner. And she goes, and I go, well, and AJ goes, technically you broke it. And she goes, get out of my house.
Yeah.
Get out of my house.
Yeah.
She just kept repeating it. We go, and so we're like, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. She goes, get out, leave. And we were like, okay, hold on. Now, wait. And then we were like, so are we going to get paid? And she goes, no, yells.
Oh my God.
No, you're not going to get paid. I'm going to use the money I was going to pay you, and I have to buy a new desk.
Yeah.
And I have to, you lied.
Yeah.
You lied.
Yeah.
You lied. And then
Yeah.
she walks us out to our car. She goes, I'm so upset. I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call. And we were like, whoa, wait.
For what?
And then she was like, wait, we didn't do anything. Like, you hired us. And she was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe you. I'm going to tell my husband. He's going to get your number. And then AJ just goes, ma'am, can we have the pizza? And she goes, get out, leave. So we drove off. We wasted 5 hours.
Yeah.
But it was because we just
you signed a 5-talent contract with 1 talent capacity.
With 1 talent capacity.
At the moment,
At the moment. So anyways, guys, don't do that.
Yeah. Build trust. Don't impress people.
Build trust. Don't try to impress people. Hey, guys, if you start something new, and consistency over intensity, and then being honest with what talents God gave you. Ask like, okay, where are we at?
Yeah.
But anyways, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
And watching. We love you. We will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.